All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Life Uncommon. My name is Andrea.
And I'm Alida, and very excited to be with you all today.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I said, hello, everybody. I promised myself I wouldn't say that this time because every time I start the show, I say hello, everybody. And then when I'm rewatching it, I hear this annoying little voice saying, hello, everybody.
Oh, my goodness.
But welcome. Thank you all for still following us and being a part of our discussion. We really appreciate you all, and it's been good. So,
yeah, it has been.
Yeah.
I'm trying to share this on Facebook.
Okay. Now. So we're going to do like we normally do. We're going to hang out for just a little bit and just share, wait for some of you to jump on so you don't miss out on anything, and then we will get started. All right. So while we're waiting we're both sharing this.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Got to make sure it gets put on Facebook so everybody sees the notification.
Yes, and we do want people to share. So if you are tuning in today, please feel free to share our show for today. Okay. Well,
Yeah, it looks like we've got some people that have jumped on.
So welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. So, all right.
Yeah. Okay. While you're still getting ready, you do have both earrings on, right?
Yes.
I just want to check because I didn't do my job last week and co-host fail. That was my hashtag. So I just wanted to check to be sure.
I do today. And all you guys that were watching last week and didn't say anything about me not having my two earrings on. So it was so funny because I was watching the show again and I was like, something looks weird about me. Yeah. What is it? And then I turned my head. I was like, where's my earring? Up to this day, I can't find my earring.
Oh, no. And I know when you wrote me and asked me about it, it's like, okay, well, it must have been on the other side that I couldn't see. But it wasn't. It was like right in my face when I was looking back at the video. It's like, oh, my gosh. Total co-host fail. I just didn't even notice.
Almost in your face.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
We are trying to work that out. Anthony, he says you're a little bit blurry.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's from the streaming from the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will.
So
let that go.
Yeah. So hopefully it clears up. I'm patiently waiting on this fiber thingy that Digicel says they're rolling out.
Oh, great.
So hopefully with that will improve the quality for us for sure. So as long as our voice not blurry, we're good.
Yeah, we good.
So today, like we said, if you saw the caption for today, we're talking about the dangers of comparison. And we hinted at this for a couple of weeks that we wanted to touch on this, but we just felt like we had to push it to the back a little bit because of all the crazy
there were
stuff
so
that
many
was
things
happening
going on and other issues that we had to address. But I think it was a few weeks ago we were doing the chapter in Joe Saxton's book, The Dream of You. We were doing the chapter on slaying your giants. And the word comparison, it came up in there in that section. So we knew it was something that we needed to touch on and have a deeper conversation about it. Yeah.
So she was talking about how does comparison overshadow you and your identity and purpose? What could it look like to pick up and use the skills and gifts God has given you? And we realized that this was just such a big issue, a big topic, because I think we all compare ourselves a little bit more now, I think, than even before, because social media has opened up an even bigger world.
Definitely. Yeah. I think it happens, Instagram, Facebook, we get those perfect pictures in front of our faces all day long. And the life that we're living doesn't look as perfect as the pictures that we're seeing.
Yeah.
And when we make those comparisons, it can be dangerous. It can be deadly for our self-esteem, for our emotions. It's just... It's not healthy. It's not healthy to spend all day, especially looking at that.
Yeah. And the thing is, someone had mentioned a comparison isn't fair.
Yeah.
Because what you are comparing to might not even be reality.
Right.
And even if it is reality, that person is different from you. You're unique in your own way, and that person is unique in their own way. But when I was thinking about this topic today, Alida, I remembered... a time in my life when comparison really hit me really hard.
Yeah.
I think it was just seeing, like, when you connect with old friends that you went to high school with, and all of a sudden you start comparing yourselves to where they're at.
Where they're at, yeah.
You're the same age, and they have a doctorate maybe, or they have a high ranking job somewhere. And for me, I think it was hard because I was still seeing myself as just a mom type thing. And I remember clearly when I ran into an old classmate, and she asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom. At that point, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was running a business out of my home. And the look that she gave me was like, all right, that way you would do it. Type thing. Like I was a failure, And so I think it's things like that affects all of us when we start allowing what people say to us, and also when we start comparing ourselves and allow other people to be elevated above us because of the position they may hold or what they have acquired over the years.
Well, and I think it's sad that we do that automatically in our heads when we see somebody or when we talk to somebody. It's like we have to rank ourselves, am I first or second or third, or where do I fit in? And that drives me crazy that seems to be a natural tendency, and we have to fight against it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
looking through your notes.
Yeah. So, like we said, we're talking about comparison today. And we also, I think we are leaning towards women, but we realize that men do compare themselves as well. So for the men watching today, we would love to hear your thoughts. If you do find yourself dealing with comparison, or it's not a big deal to you guys, is this just a ladies issue, a woman's issue, or is this something across the board where men? Because I want to hear from so let's hear from the men today, also from the ladies, about your thoughts on this topic today.
Yeah, that's a good question to put out there. One of the things that I was looking at, and I kind of touched on it, the comparison trap tricks us into thinking that God's blessings are in limited supply. And it whispers this lie that if that person's winning, then you must be losing, and that is so not true. Yeah. There is no limit to God's blessings. That, he owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He has an unlimited supply of spiritual riches, of treasures that he can give out to every single one of his children. He's not a God that has limitations on him at all.
Yeah. I wanted to read a comment from Jerry.
Okay.
Jerry says, I know your show is once a week. It should be Monday to Friday. He says, love your show, ladies. Woman power, blessings. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, that would be really hard.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, we're too busy doing all these other stuff. I mean, we pop in for a few moments, I would say, with you guys, and then we run off back to conquering the world.
Definitely.
So, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, again, though, when when you compare yourself to others, you are comparing yourself to what you perceive they are like, or whatever it is that you're comparing yourselves to. When in reality, it could be that person could be going through something that you know nothing about, but on the outside, they look all well put together.
Yeah.
So Tiffany says, hi, ladies. Yes, this is so true. Comparing does happen a lot. When it does happen, you either feel prideful for being better than them, or you feel less for not having accomplished what they have. Tiffany, we have to interview you.
Tiffany.
You need to be like the next guest on this show, because
definitely.
you have some awesome points, and I really like what you said. It is so true. And so I was going to hint at this. Actually, I have this in my notes, indeed, that they say it comes from a place of pride. Indeed, it's selfish and prideful, because it's taking the focus off of God and what He has done for you, and on yourself and what others have or don't have, type thing.
Yeah.
So
I like that part though she said about you get prideful, if you see that. I remember one time somebody made a comment about how, oh, look at him. He posted that and he can't even get 30 likes. And it was like that became my standard, that if I posted a picture and couldn't get 30 likes, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to find a better looking picture. I need to do this. I need to do that.
Yeah.
And when you hit those little milestones that you put in your head, if you get 50, 100, then, you're feeling really good about yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like somebody said, it's almost like, a drug.
Yes.
Every like that you get, every comment is like, woo, that happy feeling, But and I see this affecting especially young people.
Yes.
Because they go all out to get more likes. So they're comparing. So like, for example, I was told, like, my daughter is telling me about this girl that had like 700 likes on her.
Wow. Yeah.
Just one picture.
One picture.
And then she's like, so other people are talking about this. So other people are now looking at her like, okay, what can I do to get 700 likes on mine? But then they start making unwise decisions to try to get those likes or comments from people.
Yeah.
And
how much are you going to show? How are you going to pose? What do you have to do to get more attention?
Yeah. And it's hard because I think we all want to put the best face forward on social media. Yeah. Like, who would come on social media without combing their hair or showing some raggedy thing? Like, I even remember when my friend Cheryl O'Brien was interviewing me for my devotional. Yeah. She was like, let's do it at your house. I was like, I want to do it at my house. And so, but you think about, you want to make sure that you pick the best spot in your house and all these things, because you know that you will have people watching and comparing.
Exactly.
What's on your wall, what's on your table, all these different things. And like Tiffany said, it will either be two results. You'll either feel very prideful, or you'll feel less than because you don't have what they have.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I know I go through that kind of panic as well. If we're going to do something at my house, it's like, oh gosh, got to put the laundry away, make sure it doesn't get in the shot and all that stuff. Yeah. 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 It's rough.
And I think too, what makes it hard for us is like what you, I wanted to go back to what you were saying about, we think it traps us into thinking God's blessings are in limited supply. And I think this is also one of the reasons why people have a hard time celebrating with others when they are successful or when they are being blessed in a visible way. So when your friend gets a car and you don't have a car, you start comparing yourself. You start to say, well, why me? What happened? And then if you're not careful, that can lead to feelings of jealousy and bitterness and all these things, because they use up all my money to buy car for me. And when my time come around, I probably get a little cheap car because God can give them a real 2018 vehicle type thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it is hard, I think, for all of us. I think comparing ourselves is natural. Yeah. Like somebody said, it's natural, but it's not productive.
It's not productive. And it's something that we have to teach ourselves not to do. I think there are so many learned behaviors, you know, and it is definitely something that we can learn. You know, it would be easy. I mean, you and I have different talents, different gifts, and it would be easy for both of us to compare, you know, ourselves with one another. Yeah. But what a waste of time that is, because we're both at different stages in life. We both have different gifts. Yeah. You know, I am so proud of you. I wasn't going to do that. I was going to save this for later, but you have to get a copy of Andrea's book. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, you definitely need one. It's called Words Unfolded. It's an incredible devotional. Andrea is such a good writer. And when I read, there were a couple of the devotionals in there that really just struck me. And I know that you'll be blessed. I know that it will touch you, and you need to get a copy if you're here in Belize, or it can be shipped. So
carry on.
But you know, I was so excited, like when you got this second batch of devotionals in, I think I shared it pretty quickly, you know, because I want everybody to know that my friend wrote this book. Yeah. You know, and it's not something I have to be jealous of or feel less than because of. It's something I'm excited about.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And I think for both of us, we've always somehow managed to not compare ourselves, but celebrate each other. Yeah. And it's from a genuine place. It's not doing it because we're supposed to. Right. But we both celebrate each other because we want to. Yeah. And because we love each other.
Yes. So. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think there was a quote you had about championing?
Yeah. Instead of comparing, let's not be women who compare each other. Let's be women who champion each other. Yeah. And I think that is what we're doing. And we hope that other people will start doing that, championing each other instead of comparing each other. You know, and I think that's why a lot of people are unhappy, because they keep focused on what they don't have and what other people have instead of focusing on what they do have.
Yes. So. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, I didn't grow up with sisters. I don't have a sister. I have 4 brothers. So growing up, a lot of times I would get compared to my brothers in different ways, which was really interesting because, you know, you think that comparisons would just be female or male, but it can happen that way as well, you know, among siblings, among coworkers, you know, so this isn't just, you know, you're jealous of that other woman over there. You can make comparisons with anybody. Yeah. And it's still not healthy no matter which way it goes. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And as you're saying that, I think about how often too we as parents compare our children.
Yes. Yeah.
And the children notice. Yeah. They will notice the comparison, and some people actually verbalize it.
Yes. Why
can't you be like so and so? Or, you know, and so those things really damage a child's self-esteem when you are outrightly comparing them. All of us have unique giftings and personality traits and all of that, so we can never be compared to this one. Like, you won't have even identical twins have different things that are different about them that makes them unique. Yeah. So
and that's absolutely true. I work with Shelly, and she has an identical twin. But when I see pictures of them, I can always pick out Shelly. Always, because there are some slight, subtle differences between them. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like we said, that it's never fair because each of us are unique people, right? And they were talking about how researchers, they did a recent study And it was mainly like college age, I think, students, and they realized that people who use Facebook more often tended to compare themselves to other people more and to objectify themselves more. And I think it is not just college age anymore. I think it's across the board.
I think it's across the board. I really do. Yeah. And that objectifying, that can be really deadly, when you take away the person and just look at yourself as an object or that other person as an object. That's so unhealthy.
Yeah. Marion says, love this, listening to you guys. Hi, Marion.
Hi.
That's your people.
Yes, that's Misha's mother.
What do they call it in Belize? Comadre? Is that your comadre?
Yes. Yes. Marion and I are the mothers of Misha and Spencer. Yeah.
So she's Spencer's. There's this lady that she calls it. She doesn't say the in-law. She says
in love.
So she's mom
Spencer's mother-in-law.
Yeah. So this lady, Anne Voskamp, she was talking about comparison, and she says we use it like a measuring stick, assessing our own worthiness based on other victories or failures, beating ourselves or one another down with it.
Yeah.
Comparison is a thug that robs your joy, but it's even more than that. It makes you a thug who beats down somebody or your soul.
Wow. I love the fact that she took the stronger word thug, because I've seen the comparison as the thief of joy, but to say thug, I mean, that
it paints picture
clearly. A really clear picture, oh my goodness. And how we beat ourselves up when I think about the things I've done to myself, oh yeah. And even I try not to do this. Marianne and I have actually had conversations about this, but she can sew so incredibly beautifully, and she did Misha's wedding gown, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like her, and she finds incredible deals when she goes out shopping. It's like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like her, and how deadly that is. What kind of damage am I doing to myself every time? Because I'm putting myself down every time I say, I wish I could be like,
Exactly. And I think when we do that, someone said, it's like telling God, you didn't do a good job with me.
You didn't do a good job with me. Why didn't you make me more like her? Why didn't you give me those gifts?
Exactly. And so they were saying that every time God creates, he does so with intention. So he didn't just throw things together and said, there is Alida. But when he was creating you, he did it with intention. It wasn't just random stuff. And so I think all of us need to think about that we're unique in our own way, and God created us with intention. So when we spend our time saying, I wish, like I could easily say, man, I wish I could sing like Alida, if I spend my time wishing that I was like Alida, I would never be talking because I want to be singing.
Right.
And then the world is missing out from what I could be sharing because I am too busy wanting to sing.
Right. Right. And you have the gift of speaking. You are such a good speaker and writer. And the world misses out on our gifts and our talents when we want to be like somebody else. When we're more focused on that than developing the gifts and talents that we have.
It's true.
It's
true.
Yeah. Because I practice. I have to practice singing, to keep my voice in shape. I have to practice. So, the level that you want to reach, if you're looking at somebody else, think about your own gifts and talents and what do you need to do to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. So we've talked about the dangers, and how this can be very harmful to us. Like Anne Voskamp said, that it's a thug of joy. It really does steal your joy. What can you do to change this, to work at not doing it? And like we said, I think it's not something that you can totally get rid of, but it's making that choice when you find yourself doing it, to make a choice to do something differently instead of getting stuck in that and whining over what they have and you don't have. Yeah. Or like you were saying, it doesn't even have to be from an outside source type of maybe what somebody else has.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are some, some different ways that we can look at this. And I think one of the things that we can do is to measure ourselves against God's standards instead of against the other person, So measure yourself against God's standards would be the first thing that we could do.
Yeah.
Because, if we want to look at a model of who we're supposed to be like, how we're supposed to act, we need to look at Christ.
Yeah.
If you're a believer, I know that's got to be my standard. I need to look at what God says and measure myself against that.
Yeah.
Am I being kind? Am I being compassionate? Am I doing the things that He has created me to do? I think it's in Ephesians where it says, walk in a manner worthy of your calling. Am I doing that? Am I walking the way God wants me to walk?
Yeah. So for those of you who are watching, please feel free to join in. We would love to hear your thoughts. This is the one show where you can chime in at any time and let us know your thoughts on what we're talking about today. And if you jumped in a bit late, we were talking, or we're still talking about it, the dangers of comparison. I think when we were reading The Dream of You by Joe Saxton, it came out quite a bit, and we realized how dangerous it really is because it's taking away from who you are.
Yeah.
So, like I said, feel free to join in. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts today on what we're talking about. Yeah. So, measuring yourself. So, use God as your measuring stick instead of what other people or what's happening around you. Don't do that, because I think that leads you into dangerous territory right there. God should be the only one that we should measure ourselves against. And He doesn't lie. His word doesn't lie. It doesn't change. And if He says you are fearfully and wonderfully made, then you are.
You are. Yeah.
But isn't it hard to tell ourselves that?
Yes.
Like, I remember when Joe Saxton was talking in her book, and she said that she had to stand in front of the mirror and she would call out the things that she didn't like about herself and say, you are beautiful, and I thank you, God, for my big nose, or whatever, all the different things that she didn't like. But sometimes I think we do have to do things like that. But speak the word of God back to yourself.
Yes.
And to let, because I think I was teaching a childbirth education class, and I was telling the moms there, I said, many times we rely on others to encourage us. We want their encouragement. And I said, that is awesome. Make sure you have a team cheering you on. But at the same time, you have to learn firstly how to encourage yourself. You have to tell yourself, I can do this. I am going to do this. I am strong. And I think it comes also with us when we're measuring ourselves. Use His word. What does His word say about who you are?
Yeah. And, we think, I heard, I think it was Jervis Fisher. He was at Legacy this weekend, and he was the first speaker. And he talked about how we think at a faster rate than what we speak. So, yes, we need to speak correct things over ourselves, but we also need to focus on what we're thinking and change those thoughts, because you are influencing yourself so much more. I think we think at a rate of like 1,300 words per minute, but we only speak at a rate of about 250 words per minute. So your thoughts are dominating, and so our thoughts really need to be brought into line. And to measure them, always keep measuring ourselves against God's standards and not against the standards of the world, the standards of people that we see out there.
Exactly. And remember, I think it was last week that I said that we have to change the way we think before we can change the way we talk.
Yes.
And I think that is still true. We do, because it all starts up here. And I don't know why I'm going back to this childbirth class.
Because it must have been good.
But I was telling them, and I always start off, I said, the biggest issue here is not if there's a quote that I found that I love, is not if you're pain tolerant. It's not about pain tolerance. It's about brain tolerance. Because it is what you believe, it is what you tell yourself about what this labor will be like, what this pregnancy will be like, that really affects everything. And so I say, when you go into labor, if you go into it with lots of fear and anxiety, you are going to get a long and difficult labor.
Yes.
Because it's up here first. I said, but when you can conquer it up here, then you have a different outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, I think it's great that you bring up the childbirth class, because it made me remember that that's another area where sometimes women compare themselves to others. She only had 3 hours of labor and I had to have a C-section, and I mean, we do those comparisons,
I'm glad you said that, because now I'm going to be stuck on that for just 1 second.
That's
too.
Okay.
Because a lot of women feel like, going back to what Tiffany was saying too, they feel that they're a real mom because they had a natural delivery, and those who had a C-section pound out, in a sense, and kind of really know what it's like to have a baby because you had a C-section. So it's like a big deal. I know I think there's even like a division now. I've seen groups with natural moms, natural birth, and then C-section. It's a birth.
It's still a birth. It's still and my C-section babies were pretty because they didn't get their heads smashed.
So it is an issue where in every part of our lives, I feel like we do compare ourselves. So yeah. Please ignore my dog. He prefers to bark when you're going live.
Yes, exactly. No different than some of the things we used to face at the studio, when the lawn guy would show up while we were doing the show or whatever. Okay, so the first one, the first way of conquering comparison was to measure yourself against God's standards. The second way would be to pay attention to your own work.
Yes.
And I love that because, when you're little, and you sit down with your crayons and everything, you're doing your own work. You're focused on this masterpiece that you're creating. But it seems like as we get older, we stop paying attention to our own work. And we start paying attention to what's on our neighbor's paper.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Stop it. Focus on your own thing. The Bible talks about minding your own business, And I think that's what this just was nicer but really it meant translation is mind your own business. Focus on what you're assigned to do. And I had shared a short little thing on my Facebook page about minding your own business, and that was what God spoke to me.
He spoke that over you. I remember.
And people were like, oh, that sounds harsh. Why God I tell you to do that? But then when the Lord started to speak to me, I realized that it wasn't harsh at all. He just wanted me to be focused.
Right.
And minding your business is all about, Andrea, do what I have assigned you to do.
Yeah.
Not to worry about what this one did or why that one do, whatever, but focus on what I have called you to do. And so I think we should scratch this off and put mind your own business.
Well, you need to
mind your own.
Yeah, it is so important to mind your own business. My brother John, he says, stay in your lane.
Yep.
He's a track coach, so he is big on that. You need to stay in your lane. You need to run your own race.
Yeah.
Mind your own business.
Yes. And I have to, because of the times we're living in, though. This is about what God has assigned you.
Yes.
Because I think in light of all the recent stuff that's been going on with the abuse and all the stuff, we have taken this, which I don't think God necessarily meant all of that. We have turned our eyes away from children being abused in front of us in the name of minding my own business.
Yeah.
I have seen that in
domestic violence,
abuse of any form, or somebody suffering that maybe you could have helped, but you didn't mind your own business.
Yeah, that's not what we mean.
That's not what I mean. If you see somebody in an abusive situation, you see a child in an abusive situation, if you see your neighbor struggling, there are creative ways to help, to interject into that and to be of help instead of turning your head away and say, well, me to mind my own business. So that's not what I meant.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm glad you clarified that. Because somebody, I'm sure, needed to hear that clarification.
Yeah. So you see what she said.
Okay. And we do still want to hear from you. If you've got any comments, if you have something you want to add to the conversation, if you're not watching us live, but you're seeing this on a replay, go ahead and type your comments anyway, because we will be paying attention to those. So we do want to hear from you and have you be a part of this conversation.
Yeah.
So we talked about measuring yourself against God's standards. We talked about minding your own business, pay attention to your own work. And next it would be do the work set before you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I think you touched on that, that God has a specific job for each one of us to do, and that's the job that we need to get done.
Yeah.
Stop
focusing on, don't try to do somebody else's work, pretty much. Do your work and do it to the best of your ability. Yeah. Because I also think that we can do work and we can do work excellently.
Yes.
So what are you putting in? Are you leaving? What is the legacy that you're going to leave? What will people say about you when you're no longer here? Will they remember you for somebody being a person of your word, a hard worker, a person of integrity? Yeah, that whenever they did anything, they did it wholeheartedly, they did it excellently. Are those things that people will say about you? So I think it is important that we focus on the work that is before us and to do it well, not just to throw things together.
Yeah.
So like my children, what they do, they will quickly go and do their chores so they can get on the tablet. And so I realized I have to take it away completely and let them do a good job, and then see that they did a good job. Then, okay, now you can go. But if they're in the middle of something, I'm like, did you do your chores? Did you do the dishes or whatever? Oh, they jump up and in like 2 seconds it's done. But it is not done well. Because they're so focused on something else. All they're thinking about is something else. And so for us, if we want to do a good job, we have to be focused on what is before us.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah. That is such a good point.
Hi, Miss Del Marie. Watching you all the way from cold NJ, New Jersey.
Oh, my goodness.
Love your show. Thank you, Miss Del Marie.
Thank you. I try to stay warm.
Yeah. One of these days, you have to join us because the, what do you call this? The technology that we use, Miss Del Marie, allows us to interview anybody from around the world as long as they have an internet connection and camera. So one of these days you have to join us because you have some great ideas as well. All right, what's the next one?
The next one, trust in God's promise for your life. Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one. Trust in God's promise for your life. And you know what? I think there are some times when if things don't happen fast enough, or if things don't happen the way we think they should happen, I think there are times when we don't trust God, that we don't trust that he's working things out for us, that he's guiding us in the right way, and we need to trust in God's promise for your life. If he told you something, he's going to be faithful to help you get there. It may not happen when you want it. I know there's some songs we used to sing in church. He may not come when you want him, but he's right on time, saving time. He will be there. You will see him show up. You need to trust in him and believe that he is capable of doing what he said he will do.
Amen, sister. And that is hard.
Yes.
It's hard because we also might have our own idea of what we want for our life.
Yeah.
And then find a verse to match that.
Yes.
So,
are you telling on me?
No.
I know I'm guilty. I have done that in the past. Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's why I'm saying it. I remember when I was praying for a husband, there was a certain somebody, not tell me husband here. So there was a certain somebody that I was convinced was my husband to be, and I was finding all the scriptures, and nobody could tell me that God didn't say it, but God didn't say it.
God didn't say.
And so I think we have to be careful about what we're claiming, because is it really his promise to you? Is it really what God has for you? And I think the only way to really get that is God reminded me of this. It's in that quiet place.
Yes.
It's when you go before him, you quiet yourself, lock out all the noise, all the voices, and you hear and you listen. I think that's when you really get to hear from God and you get a hold of what his promise is.
Yeah. And those quiet spaces, those are so important. And we don't always take the time to get quiet before him. And that's something that we need to do on a regular basis, because you can't recognize his voice if you're not spending time in the word. You know, when you're consistently reading the word of God, you get a sense of the tone of God's voice.
Yes.
You know, and so then when you get in those quiet times, when you're praying or meditating or listening, then you can hear his voice and you'll know that it's him, because it matches up with what's in scripture.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to do that. But once you grab a hold of that, I think trusting is a whole other issue.
Yes, it is. Yes,
because
it is.
You will be challenged on that, because oh my goodness, this is so good. Okay, do I have it? I want to read you something that somebody sent me. So, and I'm gonna call her name because she was on Facebook, Samantha Jacobs.
Oh yeah.
She was on Facebook the other day, and she said she saw a message from a comment that I had made, and God just started to speak to her.
Yeah.
And okay, where is it? But she said something about that. Ooh, and it was really good. Okay, she was saying though that the devil knows that he cannot stop God's plan for you, right?
Yeah.
So what he does, oh man, I can't find the exact thing. Hold on, people. Hold on. All right, let's see. Can't find it. But anyways, I'm going to paraphrase because I can't find what she said. Seriously, people, she said me, I write it out on my hand, help me when she done. When I done write
I'm looking at the scrolling. I mean, there's a lot there.
Yeah. But
I know Samantha, she does have good words to share.
Yeah. But I think pretty much was what she was saying, that it was talking about God's promise for us. And she was saying that the devil can't change, or he can't take away God's promise to us, but he will want to cause us to doubt that promise.
Yes.
And to not hold on to that promise or make the declaration, and so that's the only way that he can come in and do that. And I thought that was such a powerful word. And so trust is such, when you read it the first time, I chuckled because trust is a big word. It's harder than it sounds.
Yes.
A lot of times it's harder than it sounds, but do trust in him, because God promises, he doesn't lie, like we said. They will come to pass. And the Bible assures us that nothing that he has promised will not come to pass, that he will fulfill his word. The Bible even says that God watches over his word to make sure that it is being accomplished, that it is being fulfilled.
Yeah. He is worthy. He is worthy of our trust.
Yes. All right, so we have one more point before we run out of here today.
Okay, so the last one would be celebrate and support others. And we talked about that earlier, you know, with the Ann Boskamp quote about championing, you know, celebrate and support others. That I think that is an easy way, or maybe it's not an easy way, but it is a simple way to get over yourself and get over that comparison trap, you know, to be able to jump over it by training yourself to celebrate, to be excited for somebody, you know, if they've accomplished something or made it through some kind of a challenge or got a new job or had that baby or whatever. You know, if you don't just click like on Facebook, say something to that person, you know, you go or whatever it is. Celebrate and support. Let people know, you know, that you are there for them and that you are excited for them. And I think excitement breeds excitement. You know, if you can get excited for them, then you can also start getting excited for yourself. Because once you know that God's supply is not limited, it's like, oh, he did that for her. I wonder what he's going to do for me. You know, you know, that kind of excitement breeds more excitement. So celebrate and support.
Exactly, because his supply is unlimited. So just because Alida gets something, don't mean I might not get what Alida gets, because remember, we are all unique. And so what Alida get, I may not need. Or it won't be beneficial for me. So that is also something to think about when you're celebrating others. They got what they needed in that moment. And so do practice that. And I think even teaching our children from a young age to celebrate others instead of pouting. And, you know, I have had that early on when my kids were little, like, one of my child, I won't call names, one of my child had a problem when another child would get something. And this was for birthdays, you know, because we celebrate, they all have different birthdays. And so I had to tell this child, you know what, when it was your birthday, you were celebrated, you got something. So now and I said, and all of your other siblings, they celebrated with you. So now it's your turn to celebrate with them. And I think it is very important to teach children from a young age as well about the dangers of comparison and about the importance of being a champion of others and supporting and celebrating other people.
Those are vital. That's good. And I think it is important with teaching our children. I see that with so many different families, like you were talking earlier about, you know, making comparisons about this one or that one, but training them like you did, you know, that we're all going to be celebrated. And I see that, I think, with my youngest brother. He's got 3 sons, and I see how close those young men are to one another. And I know that's because Stephen and Angie, my brother and his wife, have just done such a good job encouraging that support of one another. They show up at each other's athletic events. They show up for one another. You know, and that is so important.
We've tried to make sure that we don't allow ourselves to get caught up into that. So for example, when my 2 daughters used to do ballet, when they would have a recital, my son can't say, I'm not going. Everybody's going. And now my son is playing football and everybody goes because we are going to be a family that will support each other. And so I hope that this is something that they will remember as, you know, they go into adulthood, that they will remember that we were always supportive of each other. But it is hard, especially when somebody got that promotion that you wanted. You know, I think when you put it into those contexts, because we can be sitting here saying, celebrate each other. But when it hits close, in the workplace, or when your crush asks out your friend on a date instead of you.
Or somebody else gets that music gig you wanted, you know. I know. I know. And so this is where it's about training yourself. It's training yourself to celebrate, training yourself to support, you know, so that, because we have to change the way we think. We have to change the way we speak.
Yeah.
You know, those are part of, I think those are, it's a responsibility, but it's also part of maturing as an adult. It's a part of becoming a healthier person. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And it's not easy when somebody gets that promotion or gets something you wanted. It's not easy.
Yeah.
You know?
I was reading something last night where this lady was talking about, even in school with the kids, like when they do a test, it's, what did you get? What grade did you get? And her daughter felt uncomfortable because, again, like the two things that Tiffany said, if she got a bad grade, she didn't want anybody to know she got a bad grade. But if she got a good grade, she also didn't want to come across as she was bragging or boasting about it. And so her mom was telling her about the 4 magic words she said of, I'm happy for you. You know, you just have to learn to practice that. If somebody gets better than you, I'm happy for you. Yeah. That's awesome. And you move along. It's just a grade. And so I think practicing saying I'm happy for you is a good way for us to show support or to celebrate with other people.
So say it verbally if you're face to face, or type it if it's on social media. You know, those 4 words are very easy.
Yeah. Even if you feel like swallow sand.
So happy for you.
Just don't put it in bold, like all caps, right? But like we've said, God has given all of us giftings and talents uniquely to us, for us to use to be a blessing and to make a difference in this world. So instead of comparing yourselves to other giftings and talents, look at what you have, what God has deposited in you, and start asking yourself how you can use that to make a difference in your world.
And that's a great place to end. That was powerful. Yeah.
All right, I don't know you. You can wrap up. You can say something.
So thank you so much for being with us today. And like I said, if you're not watching this live, you're watching it on the repeat. Comment, join in the conversation. We would love to hear from you.
Yep.
And we'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week, and I don't know if we know what you're talking about yet next week. But if you have a suggestion or a topic that you would like for us to talk about, please don't hesitate to send us a message or comment below and let us know. And remember, Words Unfolded.
Yes.
So
get your copy.
I had to turn this all about the place. Get your copy. $10, right? And it's a glossy cover now. The first one was good. I mean, all right. As in how it came out. We are practicing and on the printing, and I didn't even expect to really be, but so many people want it. So I got it done right this time. This one is a little bit more different.
It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful copy. I love the way it's laid out.
I added like a note section to the back.
Awesome.
You didn't see that?
I didn't see that. No.
I did. Okay. And then I added a introduction that I didn't put in the first set.
Okay. I'm so excited. I can't wait to read my copy.
So if you want a copy, let me know and I will get that to you. All right? So, okay.
Okay. So we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.